We tried very much to answer everything and not leave any loose ends. That last scene is what we've always envisioned.
You're kidding me.
This video is brought to you by the #1 website builder, Squarespace.
Alright.
Stranger Things was a fun, nostalgia-filled show that dreamed of a long-gone 1980s America. Well, the first season did, didn't it? If you showed Series 5 to the people watching Series 1, they would have thought they were watching a completely different show. Yes, the first season dreamed of an 80s that sort of existed, and sadly through the seasons the quality went up and down and never quite hitting the enjoyment of that first season. The show went from small town mystery to large MCU style horror action, with not too much horror.
I don't like girls.
And looking back, season 4 had some good ideas. It really felt like the show was building to a dramatic final.
I can't feel or see anything.
They came back for season 5 with many promises of all the questions getting answered. All the questions were not answered. And we got a lot of new questions. They too were not answered.
You see that cutout of light? It's in the same shape as the cave entrance. What are the chances it cracks in the same shape as the cave? The cave we know Henry visited. I think the cap is a map. A map Henry made when he was young. A map that'll lead us to some kind of secret location. Yes, in what was a clear red flag that the Duffer Brothers had written themselves into a hole they couldn't get out of, they decided to start season 5 by time skipping 18 months into the future, resetting the town after the season 4 final. Reset it!
They also decided to add a bunch of kids we didn't know. Adding new characters at the end of a story is never a good sign. Yes, after splitting the town open to the gates of hell in season 4 and promising a final showdown, we jump to Rockin' Robin, the radio host, for an exposition dump that tries to explain how the town fixed this small issue of being opened up to hell.
Nice to meet you, aka Rockin' Robin! And those free, mandatory medical checkups? I mean, very cool.
Listening to Robin's explanation makes it feel like the arrival of hell was just a slight inconvenience.
Yours truly.
How much of a loser is Steve? This is his third job with Robin, and now he is literally hired to blow a slide whistle. What a cuck. Speaking of Rockin' Robin, listen up, Duffer Brothers. No, and I mean no self-respecting teenager in the 80s, the late 80s, which makes it worse, no teenager then would have called themselves Rockin' Robin. Rockin' Robin was a twee sugar pop song from the 50s that Michael Jackson covered in 1972. It's a song your parents would have loved. This season of Stranger Things is set in 1987. Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction came out in 1987. So what kind of backward fucking nerd that somehow works at a radio station calls themselves after a 50s bebop song?
What? Oh! They're getting closer all the time.
Her show sounds more like the typical middle-aged midlife crisis announcer that was around at the time, not a teenager in the 80s. It was a time of rebellion, not conformity.
Heavy metal definitely rules. They all rule. Yeah, she's tripping Jack Daniels.
I'm David Elby. I'm 20 years old.
Dawn, 13.
And something more disconnected from the 80s than having Robin act like a middle-aged DJ is having Eleven run around in a dry wetsuit for days. Because it's bloody impossible. 2 minutes in a dry wetsuit and you want to rip your hair out? The heat, the chafing, the itching. My God, Eleven would have smelt like old dim Sims that had been left on the dash of a hot car. No wonder Mike didn't want to touch her in the end. She would have stank. I'm guessing the Duffer Brothers aren't the beach type, because wearing a dry wetsuit like that would like be having a character in a bikini for days in a show set in the snow. It's stupid and very distracting. It was also a lost opportunity to establish Eleven's look as a young adult. They could have shown how far she'd come, how she'd grown into being a normal teenager thanks to her friends, and her fill-in dad, which would have made it more tragic when she finally dies. If she actually dies. You know, we'll come back to that. Instead of looking like a young girl who had learned how to be normal, made friends, had a boyfriend and a family, she finished the series looking like a lab experiment, completely missing the point of her character and where she should have been by now. Have I ever mentioned how much I hate they ripped off the Black Void look from the movie Under the Skin? And the fact that no one talks about it? It annoys me every time. Under the Skin is definitely worth checking out, even though seeing Scarlett Johansson nude was nowhere near as exciting as I had hoped. It's a good film, so you know, you can't have everything. And Millie Bobby Brown is not a runner. She is severely weighed down by Earth's gravity, which is okay because not everyone is light on their feet, but with with Millie, God, to be honest, it's not just her running, it's all her movements. Every time she does something, it looks like she's on too much Valium, which is odd because she looked fine in the other seasons. But as she's gotten older, her center of gravity seems to either be stuck at her ankles or in the top of her head. She definitely hasn't done a Linda Hamilton. No, not that Linda Hamilton. Terminator 2 Linda Hamilton. She definitely hasn't done that. She definitely hasn't gone away prepared for this role. But to be fair, when hiring the little Millie Bobby Brown, there would have been no way of knowing that as she got older, she'd have the grace of a two-legged dog. How could the Duffers have known? But when they were filming this season, the first time her slow, short legs started hoofing across the scene, someone should have called cut and made the decision not to have her run anymore. But I have no faith that there was anyone on set that could make that sort of call, because it wasn't the only running scene that looked bad. But this time, it wasn't because of an earthbound actress. Max's escape from Vecna this season also looked like shit, which was weird because we have seen her make the same trip before and it looked way better. What is this bizarre trend of shows looking worse as the seasons go on? Does every series slowly turn into a money laundering scheme? So much of it looked like absolute garbage, especially the final showdown that literally looked like a film clip from the 2000s. How? What? And why? Why does it look so shit? And why has your main creature been redesigned? The original design of the Mind Flayer looked fantastic, very creepy. This looks like the spider out of Wild Wild West, and nothing should look like it's out of Wild Wild West. Now with Max's scene, she was getting shafted by the writing and editing. We can't say anything against her acting. She has always been very good. And Jamie Campbell Bower, who played multiple roles including Vecna, is fantastic. This caused a problem because a lot of the cast should have been kept away from being anywhere near these two people. Now again, to be fair, the kids playing Lucas, Dustin and Steve are always fine, but Noah Schnapp playing Will, my God, was that a hard watch. Especially when he was going head to head against Jamie playing Henry Creel, Mr. Watson, whoever he is at the moment. One, full of emotion, depth and meaning. The other, what the fuck? And that's the guy that gave the longest, most ill-timed coming out speech that had a reaction that was nothing like the 80s.
Wait a minute, are you gonna tell me you're a fag? I mean, if you're gonna tell me you're a fag, I don't think I can handle it.
And in a show that already did a good coming out scene, one a lot more realistic for the time.
Tammy Thompson's a girl. Steve. Holy shit.
The ridiculous coming out scene could have had some weight if they had acted more like kids and adults in the 80s, not just all instantly accepting.
Well, what if I go back to the future and I end up being gay?
Why shouldn't you be happy?
But no time for any meaning or lessons on how far we have come from the 80s. That would have taken too much effort. Hopper's reaction alone could have been priceless. The dude grew up in the 50s, so he could have said anything.
I don't like girls.
Paging Dr. Faggot!
They could have had a situation where Will comes out to only Hopper, who has to take it on board and explains that everyone already knew, and that of course Will's mother wouldn't be kicking him out over this news, because that's something that definitely happened in the 80s. The idea of them all understanding this was introduced in the very first episode, back when the show was written with some nuance. So to wait till now to have this badly timed scene take up too much time at what is close to the finale was a terrible case of modern social preaching. But let's have a quick break to talk about your future. Can you believe it's 2026? We're living in the future. A new year has started and there's no better time to get out of that hole you're in and get that future you always wanted. That's right, get up, start moving and get that business going you've always dreamed of. And the first thing you're going to need is an awesome looking website. That's where today's amazing sponsor comes in, Squarespace. Yes, you need a website to showcase you and your wonderful idea. And it couldn't be easier. Head over to Squarespace for a free trial and start with their Blueprint AI, Squarespace's AI enhanced website builder, to get yourself a fully custom website in just a few steps. Or you can grab one of their professionally designed website templates to get you started. Personalize your website with intuitive drag and drop editing, amazing styling options, and on-brand AI content. Squarespace also provides secure payments and client invoicing, so you can safely run your whole business straight from your website. And Squarespace lets you set up online courses with multimedia lessons. It also includes progress tracking and flexible pricing. Get started today by heading to squarespace.com/robothead, that's the important bit, and try Squarespace for free. And then when you are ready to take off, use the code ROBOTHEAD and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Check out the link below. Start 2026 on the right foot and get yourself an awesome looking website.
Said that right, Mr. Scream. Great, good stuff.
While we are on Will, the last we see of Will is him cruising some city bars. Maybe it's New York. Sadly, if that's true, there's a very big chance that AIDS took him out.
Don't be shocked, it just wasn't a great time for the gay community. It happened to be in 1987 that the AIDS activist Larry Kramer founded the AIDS Coalition in New York City. That was to force governments to actually do something about the AIDS virus and maybe try and help the sick people. But let's be positive. No, not that sort of positive. Let's hope Will survived and he met a nice young man.
My name's Jeffrey Dahmer. I have several hobbies. I like eating out and meeting new people.
Now, while the coming out scene was drawn out and ill-timed, wasn't as bad as the jizz room breakup scene. Fuck, this series is all over the place. The breakup scene between Nancy and Jonathan that is in a room full of load. I think it was a metaphorical representation of Jonathan's blue balls after being led on by Nancy for 4 seasons. Dude was so pent up he was willing to put a ring on it. A room full of load that dried faster and harder than it does in an old sock. Nothing about this room, the load, the dead soldiers, any of it is ever explained. But there's no surprise there, is there? Where is the jizz coming from? What's making the jizz? What happened to the soldiers? Why does the jizz melt everything it touches except the 2 people who are in the fucking room? Seriously, I haven't seen that much white goo in hair since Edward Penis Hands. But not to worry, because this show has no consistency from one scene to the next, so the hair jizz just disappears. We then get the worst breakup dialogue I've ever heard. A weird scene that plays out as if they never really had any feelings for each other.
I hate the Clash.
I hate reading your articles.
You are always exactly 6 minutes late. I want to punch a wall. I hate it when you're high.
I hate it when you're drunk.
I hate it most of all when you're high and I'm drunk.
Me too.
An odd ending to an odd relationship.
I took your pink sweater to Goodwill.
What? I was looking for that.
You know I hate pink.
What teenage boy hates pink on his girlfriend? What guy hates a piece of female clothing so much that he disposes of it at the Goodwill?
Paging Dr. Faggot!
I don't know what type of house Joyce was running, but she didn't have a lot of luck turning out straight, non-stalkery dudes.
You know, your son looks like a to me.
But don't worry about all that. In the biggest clue that the Duffers had no idea how to end this series, instead of focusing on the characters we had followed for 4 seasons, they introduced a ton of new child characters who got more screen time than the original cast. And a lot of existing characters just simply disappeared. Dr. Owens, he seemed important at one stage. Dimitri, would have liked to have seen him again. Dustin's girlfriend Susie, she helped the team twice, but gone off screen. And Max's mum, who never visited Max in hospital, where she was in a coma for 2 years, or went to her graduation. All those people with blank signs, and there was plenty of room for Max's mum. Wait, blank signs? How did Max graduate after being in a coma for 2 years? What did she do to get those passing grades? And the regret of killing Dr. Brenner, even though they could have easily brought him back, led to the worst inclusion of a useless character I've ever seen, Dr. K. They went to the trouble of dragging out a weathered-looking Linda Hamilton for this, and in the end, it was for absolutely no reason. Her character had no story arc. Because her character had no story, she didn't even get a bad guy death scene. When she finally does catch up to 11 and goes to give her some of her backstory,
I have been looking for you for a very long time.
11 cuts her off mid-sentence, just as she was about to tell us all who she was and what she was doing.
My name is
Dr. K. I know who you are.
Wasn't that fortunate for the writers? They've only had 3 years to get her story right, and they let 11 cut her off just to tell her that not only her, but her and all her men are going to die.
I also know that you and your men are going to die.
Which doesn't happen. Now, since the beginning of time, when a main character tells a villain in this type of story that they're going to die, there's usually a payoff. You know, they die. Not this time. Dr. K and most of her men live. That's right. She doesn't even get an eventful death. In the end, the army just pack up and leave. No, it's okay that you murdered half our men. We don't care. Let's just all forget about it. Yes, in the end, Dr. K literally had no purpose. She arrived in town, twirled her villain mustache, and then left again as if nothing happened. And the final showdown. What a piss poor letdown. After witnessing Vecna and his little trained monsters taking out an army with ease, he and the Mind Flayer are disposed of with barely a fight. It's all over in less time than Will's coming out soon. And no one dies, no one even gets hurt. Even Will, who's been connected to Vecna for all these years, just magically gets disconnected
disconnected from him with absolutely no explanation. Will and Vector being connected is one of the main story threads of this show, and the dumbass brothers just remove it at the last minute with no explanation. Imagine the tension and drama that could have been added by having Will collapsing and getting closer to death as they are killing Vecna. You know, we might have wondered what was going to happen. Well, at least the battle with all the Demogorgons, Demodogs and Demobats was exciting. No, it wasn't, because again the dumbass brothers just decided to remove all them from the final. Instead, we get kids climbing fucking mountains within seconds. Kids easily doing what the army couldn't do. And we also get Will's biggest fear, a massive spider vagina. Just imagine, we could have had hordes of monsters running towards the gang. The gang think they're all about to die, and then we realise Will is controlling them all with his mind and they attack Vecna. That's how they could have taken Vecna out. They bloody set up this idea in the show. It's just that they set it up for no reason and it led to nothing with their version. And then, after all this time, one of the most controversial parts of this garbage pile, 11 self-deletes. Or does she? Don't worry if you don't know, because even the writers don't know. I mean, since this show finished and they've been doing their regretful interviews, they've admitted that most of the story threads here are resolved off screen or are just up to the viewer to decide. How piss weak can you get? Because even though we see 11 die in the overly long post wrap up of everyone's lives, Mike tells a story about how 11 lived. Is Mike just making it up, or did it happen? No one knows. And I mean, no one knows. This show's another case of blue ball endings, where the story ends and the viewer has little satisfaction. I would have killed off anyone else before 11. The Dumber brothers decided to only kill 11. Or maybe they just sent her off to live on her own. Either way, both crap endings.
And the storyteller.
Fucking assholes.
I remember going on the ET ride at Universal Studios when I was a kid. It had ET, it had the bikes and the police. It felt like we were back into the ET world. It was bright, colourful and noisy. It was fun, but it added nothing to the story. It was living off the memories of the movie to make a few bucks. Well, that's what season 5 of Stranger Things feels like. A loud, colourful ride that had some recognisable things and the name above it, but none of the spirit of the original show.
The whole episode has to be building towards 11 is going to kill herself.
Fucking assholes.
Say thanks, Duffer Brothers. And can someone tell me, what was with the bloody clocks? Another idea that just led to nothing.
Whoa, hey. Sorry.
Paging Dr. Faggot!
You lose.